week 11. We're on week 11 of a 14-week journaling. We missed one day last week. I did. I wasn't here on Thursday. That's the only day I missed of journaling. That's not, I don't get a prize for that. It's, I just needed to take some time off. Sometimes I take time off from social media in general because it gets overwhelming, and I want my life to be more than social media, and that's how I try to stay mindful and grounded in life. Being mindful means that we're deliberately paying attention to our lives, and it helps with the stress, and it helps with a lot of just different things in our lives. So on week 11 on the journaling, what we're talking about is transformation. Transforming our what we believe can help us with personal growth. When you have personal growth, that is something that you intentionally and purposely work on to grow. And how journaling helps you with that is through prompts, having prompts that help you out to personally grow, to make yourself a better person in a lot of different ways. And it involves becoming more self-aware about yourself and your surroundings. You know, a lot of things that have happened to us in our lives are things that we've allowed to happen in our lives. These are things that that we build a perception on. We write a little story behind it of why something is the way it is in our life. But when we're improving and trying to go forward, especially mentally, we realize that a lot of what's happened to us is the fault of our own situations that we put ourselves in. Things that we tolerated from people that became normal. And we feel that we have to stay in situations sometimes that, you know, that may not be good for us. And when you're self-aware and you're working on transformation and your personal growth, one of the things that you want to be aware of is where you have yourself. Whose hands are you in? You know, the only person you can trust at the end of the day would be yourself. So you are in your own hands. And when you start to realize that and become mindful of that, your mental clarity helps. Take control and notice things in your life, things that we might tolerate, things that we just keep carrying forward. And all of these things, you know, even when it comes to, you know, I have trauma in childhood, I have this, you can't bring any of that forward, because if you do, then at that point it's your fault. It may not have been your fault when there was trauma in your life. It may not have been your fault when something happened to you as a kid, but it's your fault if you're an adult and you're still dealing with trauma, because those are things that we're allowing. And part of what week 11 is personal growth and transformation. Transformation and personal growth in a mental way through journaling and through writing with certain prompts in our lives so we would have a good life. And these are the things that we're talking about today. We're going to examine how the journaling can help us. And it's going to be through prompts. So when you're journaling, you're not editing as you write things. You're going to come up with a prompt. You can set a timer for 5 minutes. You can set a timer for 10 minutes. The main things that are going to be involved in the 11th week, and there's many more things in this, but what I'm specifically talking about are right here. You know, we have our self-awareness, which means we're going to recognize emotional development, our mindset, our well-being, purpose and meaning. Purpose and meaning, having purpose and meaning in your life. Having purpose and meaning would be to deliberately go out and volunteer, not overdoing it, not doing it for any other reason than that it makes you feel good. And there's so many practical steps that we can take to follow all these. So we're going to go right and hit them all. So on self-awareness, we're going to recognize our strengths, our weaknesses, and our thoughts and our feelings, right? And as we're writing, we're going to develop our emotions by learning to manage our emotions, build resilience, and maintain relationships. Maintain the relationships that we want in our lives. And we're going to gain new abilities by improving existing ones to adapt and grow in our personal and our professional life. All through managing our emotions, all through writing, and all through delving deep into our lives with some things. First thing every day, you should ground yourself with just gratitude. There's so many things when we wake up that we have that we could be grateful for. And it could just be our cup of coffee, the fact that we woke up in a house, that we have heating and air, that we have a job to go to. These are all things that we can think of, and a lot of them we take for granted. We don't notice until they're gone. So being mindful and gratitude is grasping the things around us right now that we can be grateful for. You can be grateful for a walk that you can take later on, and having good habits that help you build gratitude. To just take that moment of what you have to be appreciative for today. Life in general is something to be grateful for. Having life to live today. And being aware that we're in control of our lives and we're in control of our mindsets, and that we're the ones that are in control of where we go, how we're going to take things, and what emotions we're going to let take us over at any given time. What's the one challenge in your past that shaped you to who you are today, and what strength or quality did you develop because of it? That right there is a writing prompt. What's one belief, habit, or pattern that no longer serves a person? And I want to get into that one too, because we have beliefs and patterns that we've carried on and on and on in our life that no longer serve us. They can only help us get triggered by things, help us get triggered by people, things that we believe that are just stories that we carry in every day. Those are beliefs and habits. If you read a book that you really liked 10 years ago, you're going to read it in a different way because your perception probably changed about life in the last 10 years. But for some reason, we have certain perceptions and things that we believe that we want to carry into our everyday life, thinking that's what keeps us resilient, thinking this is what I need to be on the lookout for. I'm going to wreck my life because I still believe this. These are some of the things that we do to ourselves. When you're meeting your inner self, you can always have a conversation of what's good for you and what's bad for you. That's what you're going to get out of journaling. When you're transforming yourself and you're trying to make yourself better and you're reading prompts and just writing, and you don't want to edit what you write, just let the words go. So a really good prompt on meeting yourself would be, if I could have a conversation with my younger self, any age, you choose it, what would you have wanted yourself to know? And what would you want them to say in return? And that is a journaling prompt. That's something that you can write and discover things about yourself. There's values that we all have that mean the most to us, but sometimes we don't know what to do with them until something comes up. When you're putting daily effort into journaling and you're putting a daily effort into, I want to have a good life, I want to be in control of my emotions, I want to stay mindful, I want happiness and peace within myself, and I want my mindset to be about my life and about yourself. Protecting yourself into your hands, tending to your own garden. That's what you do. You tend to your own garden. You don't get a hose long enough to go around to your neighbor's house and everybody's house and take care of everybody else. We take care of our own thoughts and our own feelings. And when things happen that upsets us, then that's just our perception of that. When you're discovering yourself and you have total awareness, there's parts of you that we hide from other people, and that's a good prompt. What part of us do we feel that we hide from other people? What is it that we do that we might be ashamed of, or something that we don't want anyone else to know? Being self-aware of that, and then why don't we want anyone to know? Are we afraid they may not accept us? Because we need to get away from the habit of living for others, doing things because this is what's going to please people, being a people pleaser. The day of your funeral, people will stop by, they'll see you, but once they walk away from that, you're barely thought of again. Once in a while, maybe, but yet we still spend our lives trying to please others. Here's some practical steps and daily habits that you can start to foster some personal growth. And those are the things that we're going to talk about. One, indulge in yourself. Find out what you're about and what you like. Little bits of walking, eating good, changing habits that you know aren't good for you in both physical and mental, and just the way that you eat, the way that you walk, the way you think, the books that you read, all of it. Journaling daily or weekly about your thoughts and feelings and experiences, and ask yourself questions like, what did I learn today? How can I improve tomorrow? That's what journaling's about, when you're having things that you want to journal about. And develop healthier habits of balanced nutrition and consistent sleep, but consistently being mindful about yourself and being mindful that this is your journey and you can't let other people pick it up. You have to realize that the road that you're on is always under construction. We're always trying to make ourselves better, and that's why we journal. And if you've never journaled before, journaling is just something that could just really blow your own mind, because you can really look at it as a third party. Read about it. Read about yourself. It's your book. And practice being mindful and gratitude. Spend time every day, as many times as you can, just focusing on the very present moment of what's around you, what you have to be grateful for. It could be a meal, it could be your favorite chair, it could just be a spot on your front porch that you really like. This is practicing mindfulness. Realizing that there's really no storm coming on, that there isn't a lot of things that you might have brought into your day or that you keep into your life. Those things are gone. Those experiences that hurt you in any kind of way or that you're afraid of, they're not here right now. But when you're staying mindful and avoiding anxiety, avoiding depressions, those things really come from the past. When we're mindful, this is today, this is here, and this is now. And where do you need to be right now? And to do this, we have to step out of our comfort zone. We have to step out of our comfort zone because there's certain things that we're going to ignore. Turn on the ignore button from now on. As we become more grateful and we transform and we're more self-aware, we become our better selves. Now we're going to have to pick and choose what fits in with that. What places that we want to go to, what things we want to do, what we want to read, where we're going to hang out, what we're going to put into our minds. We're obviously not going to scroll all day. Scroll your own thoughts. When you're journaling, that's like scrolling, but it's actually done manually. Scrolling through, asking yourselves different questions. And through that, you can start practicing self-compassion, self-awareness, self-study, self-discovery, and a lot of things. And these things will transform you. Even if you think about them just a little bit and don't think that it matters, it really does. It's little bits of a lot of the same thing and little things that build a big building or a strong personality. A tall building's made of many, many bricks, concrete, and different resources that are available to us. Our minds are the best resource to have. When you're mindful and you're practicing on your mind, it has the benefits of, it has the benefits that give you better sleep, less stress, keep you healthy, help you reflect more onto yourself, and things like that. We've been talking for 14 weeks now. I've missed one day of those 14 weeks. And that day I beat myself up a little about that, but I realize I don't have to. Because we can't always be there for everything that we want to be. We want to be in a good spot. That's well-being. That's practicing to make this moment and where I am in my life the best that it can possibly be, through my thought, through my writing, through my work, through my actions, what I'm eating, and the things that I'm doing. And developing habits that are healthy. And that's where you're getting out of your comfort zone. There may be a lot of things that we do where it feels uncomfortable to try certain things. But when you're out of your comfort zone and it's feeling uncomfortable, that's when work's being done. It's kind of like if you go to the gym and your muscles hurt, you still go anyway. Nobody wants the pain, but it's a good pain. And when you get out of your comfort zone, sometimes that's a good pain, being out of your comfort zone. Not being in a place where you're comfortable because you've made the decision and the conscious effort to get out and be more comfortable with yourself. So your daily journaling or weekly journaling about your thoughts and your feelings are what's most important when it comes to this week. So on week 11, we're just getting into our self-awareness, emotional development, all these things right in through here. That's what we're talking about. Personal growth and transformation, transforming a lot of different things. A lot of what we're bringing into our life every day from the past, little bits of radar, little bits of things that interrupt us, some of these things are no longer needed anymore. We can't carry into our lives things that we know for a fact are going to hurt us. We want to set goals to let go of the past. Write about what have I done? What habits and places have I found repeated in my life a lot that I'm not so satisfied with? That's because we're carrying into our daily life perceptions of things where we're comfortable. We stay where we're comfortable, and that's why the same thing keeps happening over and over. We got to get out of our comfort zone. We got to monitor ourselves, and we got to monitor our story. We have to monitor what our beliefs are through the pen and the paper. You can do this by meeting new people, trying new activities, journaling. What situation do you find yourself in frequently that you really don't like, but you keep finding yourself there? We all have situations like that. We all find ourselves in places that we really don't belong. We knew we didn't really belong there. And a lot of that just has to do with this mindset that we carry. A mindset that we carry, or we feel we don't deserve any better than what we have, when we do. In fact, if you deserve life, then you deserve the best of life. Then you deserve to make yourself the best that you can be. I myself struggle with different feelings, different thoughts, and I have to use journaling to help myself understand certain things, or even a conversation sometimes with somebody that I can trust. Developing healthy habits and being aware of how you feel in life and what you're doing is the utmost importance. For you to live with resources that you create in your own mind through your thought process is going to help you live a better, happier life. Some people think that journaling is just keeping a list of things to be grateful for. And that would be right, because there's no bad journaling. There's no such thing as a right journal or a wrong journal. If you just have a gratitude journal, you write down 5 things a day that you're grateful for, then you're journaling and you're staying mindful that these are the things in my life that I'm grateful for. I'm glad to have this. Some of us do that through prayer, to thank God for what we have. That's focusing on what we have, not what we want, but what we have. Not what we're lacking, but what we have. The resources that are there now. The things that are in our life that have already been given to us, that we know that they're there and they're safe and secure, yet we still have to work for them. And transformation of life and writing to make yourself better, we're grasping for more things in our lives to be grateful for. We're grasping for the change. We're grasping for the release of emotions and the power of mind over mind. Meaning that we would like to have better control of our mind, meaning we're going to listen to ourselves more. And that's the key. We have to listen. We have to listen to ourselves. We have to listen to other people. And a lot of times when we're listening to ourselves, we realize as much as we'd like to have somebody to blame for things, everything really is our fault. Everything really comes from us. What we cultivate, those are the seeds that we plant, and that's what we're eating. That's our lunch. You ever heard it? You made your bed, you sleep in it. That's so true in life. It really is. You can't say, I'm this way because of so-and-so. This happened because my ex-wife did this. This happened because my mom and dad said this. And being an adult saying that, what does that possibly mean about you? You have to take over. Take over and kick all that shit out of your life. Those are experiences, good and bad. And for some reason, we like to hang on to negative things because we all like to think that we're a victim of something, when we're really not. We're the victim of ourselves when we keep bringing it into the next day. We're not letting it go to forgive. That doesn't mean it's so forgotten, but we're not going to get into a rabbit hole in it. We're not going to focus on the one negative person at our job who's bugging us. We're not going to focus when we feel under pressure. We're just going to stay mindful, have gratitude, and live a life that we understand, because we understand ourselves. And when you do that, you'll start surrounding yourself with more positive influence. When you're having the positive influence, that means you're not going to be bringing the negative things into your life. Other people's problems are negative. Things that you think make you a victim are negative. Those are negative things to have into your life that you do not want in your life. You don't want negative thoughts, opinions, and people in your life. They're not going to do you any good. You want to surround yourself with positivity and gratitude. And how you do that is through journaling. Here's a prompt. What things do I have in my life that affect me in a negative way? That's a good journaling prompt. And don't edit it. Go like, oh, well, I think this. Just start writing. Just start writing. Your words will start coming out. It'll be easier, especially when you're using journaling prompts. That'll really help you with mental growth, self-transformation, and it'll help you understand a lot of things that are going on in your life and in your head. And accept your mistakes as opportunities of life, as things that I learned from. Not as criticism, not for something to beat you up, not as something negative happened to you. And that's where the trauma comes in. This happened to me, it was negative, and that's why day after day after day after day, I can get away with treating myself like shit because this happened to me. That's what we don't want to do, because once we're doing that, we're at fault of that. We're the one that find the triggers in people. We're the ones that get triggered and get emotional. And then we let our emotions take over the wheel. And when we're doing that, it's only hurting ourselves. It gives us guilt and all these feelings that we're comfortable living in when we shouldn't be. Those are the things we want kicked out of our life. They're taking away our peace. They're making us stressful. They make us doubt ourselves. There's no reason to doubt yourself at all. And for you to stop doubting yourself, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone in life. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take you realizing the good person that you are, and also realizing that you are the one who's in control of the way that you think. What you're bringing into the day with your thought is 100% your fault. Not because somebody said something, not because this happened to you, not because your ex-wife, your ex-boyfriends, your grandma, your mom, your dad, your job, your neighbor, All that's a bunch of cockadoodle bullshit. The only people that can bring in your past into your life's you. And if you're living with some past things that you're trying to figure out, that's where you need to change your mindset, your perception of that. That makes your past and everything, except for the moment it happened when it might not have been your fault, but when you carry it forward as a victim, now it's your fault. Now it's your fault. Now that's on you, because you're the one that keeps reliving it. You're the one that keeps making it happen. You're the one that keeps replaying it in your mind. You're just making that, you're just carving that story and all of this victimhood shit right into your brain, right on stone. That's not what you want. You want to practice self-compassion, accept those things that happen to you as opportunities instead of failures. When we're carrying failures and things that happen to us that are upsetting us, that is our fault, 100%. Nobody's fault but your own. Don't let yourself keep triggering mental trauma. Trauma is something that's happening now. If you want to focus on something, focus on stress management, self-discovery, by self-awareness, emotional development. Manage, maintain your emotions. Manage and maintain them. When you're managing and maintaining your emotions, that old trauma, boom, right out of my head. These are things that you can manage. Your mindset, it takes discipline. It takes adapting to a new mindset. And it's going to be uncomfortable, but you need to make it become a habit. Make it become a habit for the purpose of your well-being. When you have well-being, that promotes good habits. It helps you keep those habits. Those habits of being grateful, those habits of not letting things get into the emotional book, into your life. Anything that triggers you is 100% your fault, because that means you're still carrying shit from the past. And this triggers you because your subconscious mind's always looking for something to get triggered about. Always looking for that reason to be upset, or what gave you a bad day, or I can't do this because I have a bad day. Those are things that you're bringing in to your current life. And you cannot blame anything that's happened to you by somebody else on why you're having a bad day. Because we're carrying our past with us sometimes. And this is where our good mindset's going to come in. This is where it is going to be a good day. Good morning, Queen. It's going to be a good day. And just starting like that right there, just waking up. I don't know if you're just waking up. But just starting your day with making comments like that, it's going to be a good day, and telling yourself like that. Now you're preserving a mindset that's positive to go forward with today. And what we're talking about today is our week 11 personal growth and transformation. Being self-aware, recognizing things, emotional development, managing and maintaining. And that's where we get out of our comfort zone. When we want to take control of our emotions, that means we're letting go of anything that we might bring into our day that's hurt us. We don't want to think about past events. We don't want to think about what grandma said one day, or what a teacher did, what happened on the playground, a past relationship, anything that we feel that harmed us one day, so we can be a victim today. Because if we keep doing that, we bring that into our days, it's really our fault, because we're replaying it, we're reliving it. We need to get those things out of our life. We have to maintain a good, healthy mental mindset by jumping into our day with being mindful and being grateful for all the things that we have to wake up for. But most of all, looking forward to your self-transformation through life, knowing that life's a journey, and there's a lot of things that we're going to be carrying into a day that can wreck it. Waking up like, oh, this happened to me, that happened to me, I'm all upset about this. If you are, then it's 100% your fault today. It's your fault because you're still letting the stress and the mismanagement and the misperceptions that you had about things in your life affect today's world. When in essence, that was just an experience. It could have been a failure. But we look at them as bad experiences, failures, and we look at them as all these other things are not, when in essence we should just look at them as an opportunity for growth. And that's where growth and transformation of ourselves come in. That's where we had to rewrite a couple of stories. We got to polish our old selves up a little bit. I made this video over the weekend that I didn't put out, and it was about, you know, when you have an old classic car, taking you back in time to a good day. That's kind of like when you're writing about memories that are grateful, to bring those memories into today's life, things that we've read, things that we've gone through or said, moments that we meditate about, and they can make us happy. And in this video, I referred to as shining things up. Sometimes we have to change our story as we go. If you read a book that you read 8 years ago today, that book's going to read different, because hopefully as we're growing, our perceptions change on life, of how we're going to manage the information that's being brought in, of where we're going to categorize it, and how we're going to let that affect our lives. We are 100% in control over what we hear, say, think, and do today and every day. If you think that you're upset because of what the flippity flop happened years ago, or you have things that around that trigger you and make you think about that, then it's time to just start blaming yourself, because you're doing that to yourself. You have to realize that your life's not about your past experiences and failures. It's about gaining opportunity and wisdom through your life and past experiences, checking it off your list, and going forward with knowledge and support of yourself in a good mindset. That's what transformation and growth is, and it's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable thing. Nutrition, walking, what you put in, increase your self-awareness, have some prompts. A good prompt would be, hey, what do I feel I brought into my life a lot, where I was in the same situation, a lot of. And don't start editing what you're writing. Just write it down. Just let the words come out. I got some really good prompts today. And some of the key aspects of mindfulness is awareness and non-judgment. And when we're doing non-judgment and we're working on mindfulness things, we're observing experiences without labeling them good or bad when we're thinking back into our life. And we have a lot of them that are as bad. Like, this really fucked me up. When this happened in my life, this fucked me up. First, whether it was your fault or not, may not have been. We can't carry that into today. We're now going to have to take that bad experience that triggers us and look at it as an opportunity to be better, to let it go, to just let it go. It's already water under the bridge, remember? Because if you don't, then you're making your own bed. You're going to hear some of that. That's your fault. It's your bed, you lay in it. We are going to live the day of what we're thinking. And when we get into years and years and years of thinking and living the best way with only hope that things get better, without putting action and effort into things getting better, then all you have is a hope. Nobody's going to come do it for you. You have to put consistent effort. Live on purpose in your life. Live on purpose. If there's anything that I could live on purpose for you, with a purpose. The purpose is to live on purpose, to be yourself. Accept your challenges. Deal with life more effectively. Realize that you're not going to let anything take the wheel when shit triggers you, when some cockadoodle bullshit happens. You're going to move on and like, wow, what a learning opportunity that was. I'm not coming back to that again. I'm not thinking about that again. So this is what transformation is. Transformation and journaling is going to enhance your focus on life. Enhancing your focus. Meaning that we're going to wake up every day and we're going to focus on what we have, what we've learned, who we are, and being really careful about regrets, being our unique selves, saying what we want to say and expressing what we want to express. We don't want to live our lives with people in it that are absolutely happy to wreck it. Misery likes company, and we don't want anybody in our lives like that. In short, it's important because when you're staying mindful and when you're expressing yourself and working hard and living life on purpose, it's going to take away a lot of stress. You're going to go to bed. Your mind's not going to race. Things are going to happen where you can really relax, where you can really go somewhere and be like, oh man, this is good. The other day I took a really good ride on the bay with my son, listening to just good music, enjoying that moment, that connection, which I'll never have again. I mean, we'll go on boat rides again, but that's what I mean, living. Being in the state of the activity. Being in the state of the activity is being present for the activity. Having the activity with somebody that you actually enjoy having that activity with. That's where the gift of life is. The gift of being mindful and the gift of being grateful in life for some things that you have. And it's easy to get tripped up, I know. And what happens is something comes along, it triggers us, and all of a sudden we let emotions and everything, but just go back into the moment. That wasn't here a moment ago. It's not going to wreck my day. You know, there's nothing that's going to screw things up. Realize that that's not what's going on right now. That you're in control of your emotions. You're not going to let them take the wheel. You're not going to get pissed off. You're going to be aware of your surroundings and aware that you're in control of your emotions. And this right here is that your mindset takes discipline. That's what it takes to have a good mindset and to be in control. This takes discipline. Emotional development to manage and maintain through discipline and mindset and writing will help us with our well-being and habits that'll promote our well-being. Having the good habits to stay mentally healthy. Realizing that when you have a bad day, most of the time it is going to be your fault because you're going to perceive something as not right. You can't think for everybody. Certain beliefs that we have do hold us back. And what belief do you believe that you have in your life that you feel might have held you back sometimes? It could have been a belief about yourself. It could be about a belief about a group of people or a store or just anything in life. It could be a belief that you have about any type of any kind of discipline in life. About going to school, church, work. There's all kinds of just different things. And we sometimes have these beliefs that now we're going to bring into a daily day instead of looking at something that was a failure there, disciplining ourselves to realize that there's opportunity around that belief for you to live a mindful life and not to carry anything that's bad about it. Right. Have you ever had a time in your life where you had like a bad, like a decision that really had to be made and it was like overwhelming, and then we would write it down, the good and the bad of it. We'd write down what are the pros, what are the cons. That's a type of journaling. We talked about that a few weeks ago on journaling. I've been using journaling to make decisions. It was a few weeks back. This week we're talking about personal growth and transformation in our lives. And we can still do that. We can still put down a line down the center. And what's good and bad. It's kind of a cool exercise. You can start it in the morning. And, it just takes 5 minutes. You can say, what's good about waking up? What are the pros and cons of your day that you know of so far? And then tonight, draw a line at night. What were the pros and cons of your days? And you'll see that the pros, hopefully you focus more on those. Like, I'm going to have a good day at work. You may come back to, yes, I did have a good day at work. They brought lunch in. Everything was good. We managed to meet our goals. Good things happen. But if you were to write down that the cons were that I had to go to work, and you're going into work or doing something that you really don't want to do and you're dragging your feet at it, you're not, that it just takes in effort, but without the passion. And then if you come back, you'll see that work probably wouldn't have been that good. When we're dragging our feet or we're doing something in life that we don't have passion about, that we think we have to do just to appease somebody else, remember this: the day that you die, right about 10 minutes after your funeral, you're never being thought of again. So make sure what you're doing in your life's about you. Don't drag your feet and do something just because you think you have to do to fucking entertain someone else's day, to be their entertainment. Take care of yourself. Do what you want. And do it with people that reciprocate. When you're passionate about something, the reciprocation is the passion that's given back to you. When you're doing something just because you think you have to do it, that sucks the life out of you. It takes out energy. And showing up for that every day is depressing. It'll really depress you. And it'll take away it'll just take away the edge of a knife that you own that is so sharp. The real you. The real you, that when it's oppressed and knocked down and not appreciated or even seen until you say something, and then you say something about it and you're not understood, then you're just in the wrong place. You know, practice being deliberate and pay attention to the present moment with openness, curiosity, and without judgment in your life. That is a really good way to live. Here's a structured set of just a couple of different points about being mindful in life, about your personal transformation, and just a couple of things about your self-discovery and awareness. And they're just a couple of prompts. If you're listening and you want to write one or two down, you can. When it comes to self-discovery and awareness, what parts, here's a prompt that you can do, or even just think about if you don't want to. What parts of yourself do you hide from others and why? So is there anything that you hide from anybody that you don't want anyone to know about? What reoccurring themes or lessons do I notice in my life story? That's a really good one. Is there any themes or lessons that you continue to be in that are constantly in your life story? And why do you think that is? And when you're writing out that, like I always say, don't do anything while you're writing that makes you edit it as you go. Don't write it to be good. Be honest there. Let the words come out. Let the words come out when you're writing. Let them do the speaking for you. They will come out. The words will come out, I promise you, when you want to write a little prompt. What would forgiveness to yourself or someone else look like right now? That's a great journaling prompt. What would it look like if you forgive yourself or somebody right now? It would probably look peaceful, wouldn't it? I'm not sure. These are just little prompts that you can do. I realized my music went off to some commercial. I didn't know Apple Music, they start having commercials starting in September. I don't know. But I don't know what happened to it. I'd like to get it back on. So for self-discovery and awareness, those are two different prompts that we had right there. We had, what part of myself do I hide from others and why? What reoccurring themes or lessons do I notice in my life story? But no why behind that one. And that's a really good one, I think. What reoccurring themes or lessons do I notice in my life story? And write that out. You can do 5-minute timer if you want to. You can say, hey, Siri or Alexa, give me a 5-minute timer, and just write on that prompt right there. When do you feel here's a really good prompt. And this is one that I think is really important for everybody to do. When do you feel most like your authentic self? That's a good prompt right there. And these are the prompts for week 11. Our self-awareness, our emotional development, our mindset. When do you feel most like your authentic self? And it's when. It's not what you're doing, just when. What moment? Is it when you get up and you drink a cup of coffee? Is it when you're watching TV, reading a book? I feel more like my authentic self when I'm working and doing what I enjoy. Just throwing that out there. How do you define success for yourself beyond external measures? So beyond external measures, how do you find success for yourself? It's probably when you're being your authentic self and connecting with yourself, but that's just a prompt. Those are things that you write about without editing as you're writing. There is no right or wrong way to write about it. Part of what I'm going to do for the next couple of minutes is I'm going to go ahead and give you the prompts for healing and letting go. So one of the prompts for the healing is, what am I ready to release from my past that no longer serves me? What am I ready to release from my past that no longer serves me? What unkind story do I tell myself, and how can I rewrite it with compassion? That's a really good one, because that might be something where you're carrying past trauma in, where you're bringing something into your life, something that you have set in stone. That's what we want to get rid of. Beliefs, things that, and triggers that lead us to something that we believe are just boom. That's our life. That's the way it is. That's the way it's going to be. Here's the stamp of I said so, she said so, everybody said so. Right? So what unkind story do I tell myself, and how can I rewrite it with compassion? That's a journaling prompt. Something that you might believe. Something that you're carrying into your life. Something about something or somebody. Don't know what it is, right? But you will when you start writing it out and answering that. What did your younger self need to hear, and how can I tell them that now? What did my younger self need to hear, and how can I tell them that now? That is a journaling prompt. Of something I wish I would have known now, what I didn't know then. There's songs about that too. But did we really need to know it then? I don't know. Maybe now's our time to know that what we heard long ago that we knew then. What about I wish I didn't know now, or wish I did know now? It doesn't matter either way. But what would your younger self need to hear? That's what journaling is. That's what self-discovery is. That's what delving down into growth is. That's what getting uncomfortable means. Because a lot of journaling and a lot of changing yourself, you're going to find out pretty much everything's your fucking fault. And growth in mindset, after things happen, there's things that's happened to me, believe me, in life that I don't even tell people. But it's my fault if I'm going to let it wreck my day to day. It wasn't my fault when it happened. On growth and mindset, what limiting belief keeps holding you back? And what is more empowering than truth? What can you replace that with? There you go. That's another little quick, cool little journaling prompt to have. Do you remember a time when you surprised yourself with your own strength? What challenge in your life turned out to be a hidden teacher? That's pretty good. What challenge in life turned out to be a hidden teacher? I'll tell you, there's many of them, and especially when it comes to being your authentic self, of what you want and what you need. Sometimes you don't need as much of what you thought you needed because you're wise now. And this is where we are at a growth stage, where we're not meeting certain groups of people, doing certain things, hanging out at the dock later, over at night. Been there, done that. I've done all of that. The other day when I was at the marina, and it's fine. I've met some people down there. Yeah, we're down here every weekend, and we're out here all night, this and that. And it made me tired hearing about that, because I used to think that's what boating was about. But habits and practices in our life. What are we going to get out of the habits that we're practicing today? Where can you go to oh, thank you, Queen. Where can we go to a place that's a good habit that carries on to the next day to make us feel good about ourselves? So when we're thinking about our growth and our mindset going forward, we're not carrying anything that made us a victim, right? We possibly may have been victims of something, but we can't carry that. When we're carrying that around, it really is our fault. That's on us, right? If fear was no longer a barrier in your life, if tomorrow, here's a good prompt for you. If fear didn't exist starting tomorrow at 6 a.m., what would be the first thing you did? What would be the first thing you would do if fear was no longer a barrier in your life? That is a good writing prompt. That is something to write about for 5 minutes. I think that I would find out that I'd be maybe a skydiver. I don't know. There's all kinds of cool things. And remember, when you're writing with these prompts, set a timer, write about it, learn about yourself. Prompts are to open your mind, to get out of having a narrow mindset. That sometimes we're all just focusing so hard on the day-to-day life that we forget who we are, where we belong, and our purpose. When you're writing and you're journaling and you're asking questions and you're reading it as a third party, reading it about yourself, boom, man, it just really will help you out. So for going forward in life, to finish out some prompts today, let's talk about our vision, and let's talk about moving forward in life from this moment on. From when we realize that, that sounds good, that resonates with me, I want to understand that more. How do I get the power to think like that? Well, you already have it. And once again, through some journaling prompts to go forward with vision, is what does your ideal day look and feel like? That's a good one. That's just something, just write that down. What does my ideal day look like and feel like? Just your ideal day. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What smells would you smell? Would you be on some village smelling some baked bread in the far distance, looking at a vineyard? These things exist in life, a big view. Who's with you? Do you have your kids with you? So your brothers, your sister, somebody beautiful with you? What habits and practices can I lovingly commit to that would support my growth? What habits and practices can you commit to that you would support your growth? That's a good writing prompt. And listen to yourself when you're writing that. Don't edit it. Don't think it should just come out. Focusing on that, looking at it and reading it and writing that down. What values do you want to guide your decisions moving forward? So moving forward, what values do you want to guide your decisions? What values are going to navigate? What's going to be your compass going forward? If you fully trusted the process of your life, how would you move it differently today? If you fully trusted the process of your life, how would you move it differently today? What would be just different about what you're trusting? What could be different in your life as a writing prompt that you could do differently today? During the day, taking time for thought is kind of like taking a lunch break. You know, some people have breakfast and a snack and lunch and a snack and dinner and dessert. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, little things that we do for our physical selves. But for our mental selves, we should give it a snack, a little writing prompt. A writing prompt is, what would be a good way to feed your mind with peaceful things and a good time to do it? Lunchtime, 10 o'clock in the morning when you take a little, just take a little break to think some good thoughts. And you can take some of your journaling prompts with you, even in thought, even in notes in your phone. But not just the prompts, but what it says. And you can change it to voice. You can voice record it. There's powerful ways for us to have personal growth and to transform. The first step is just doing it, right? If there is one thing you're most grateful for, what is it and why? Good morning, Alicia. I hope you're having a good morning. That's okay. I couldn't get out of bed last Thursday. Everybody that saw that I wasn't here, I really didn't feel good. And I slept that day till I think 10 o'clock. But I'm grateful that you're here. And I'm grateful that you remember and listen. And I hope that I say something today that resonates with you, that you can take into your life and use as a tool. And not just you, but everybody in here. I want you to care about yourself, and I want you to care and understand that there's a lot of things and failures in your life that you might see as failures. Rewrite the book and make them opportunities of where you're going to go, where you're not going to go, and use them as a tool of guidance in your life, and not as a way to make yourself a victim today, not to let them give you anxiety, not to let them give you depression, or that someone has one up on you. Realize that you're in control of your life from this moment forward. When you woke up and what your first thoughts are every single day is what's going to make your day. And check in during the day with yourself. How are you doing? How are you feeling? That's self-compassion. That's being good to yourself. That's guiding yourself to have a good life. Integration with your life and integrating with yourself through your mindset, your personal growth. Week 11, personal growth and transformation. Self-awareness is recognizing ourselves, right? That's pretty much self-explanatory. I wrote down a couple little things about it. Self-discovery and awareness. What parts of ourselves do we hide from others and why? What reoccurring themes or lessons do I notice in my life story? When do I feel most like my authentic self? And this is what's important. This is where I want you to flow. This is the, when a river's flowing and it has force and it has current, it has a destination, and so does your life. But sometimes there's these little side creeks where even the fish that belongs in that main part of the river, it ends up over there having to hunt different, do things different. Let's go back to the river and the currents where we belong. That's where our authentic self is. Our authentic self is going to be found in what we believe to be true about ourselves, and some of us that are living in victimhood or something today, realize you got to rewrite that story, because it's now your fault, especially if it goes way back into your life. It's your fault to carry it forward. That's not who you are. Who you are is who you make yourself to be today. Your experiences aren't what's making you. Your thoughts are what's making you. Your experiences do not carve out what today is going to be like. Your thoughts about yourself and your awareness and your gratitude is what's going to make your day about what it's about, right? These are the things that I want you to think about today. And I want you to know that you're in 100% control of it. Nobody has control over what you're going to do with your thoughts and your mind today except you. And we have these bad little emotions and triggers and things like that do like to take the wheel sometimes. But just stop and listen and reason. Be reasonable with yourself. You don't deserve to have yourself in a balled up mess over something you have no control over, but you can control your reactions. What does your ideal day feel like? What's it like to take a good, deep breath right now and give yourself a break? Self-compassion. Give yourself the pat on the back and the validation you need. So many of us are our worst own enemy because we don't have the tools, but we do. And the first step is when you start using the tools of your mind, you're going to find out that pretty much everything kind of sort of is your fault. Actually, I'm not even going to make it nice. It really fucking is. Anything that's happened to you is really all your fault, especially if it's reoccurring, because these are choices that we make, beliefs that we have, getting wise through life. Let's carry on a good little prompt or two of integration. How does my body feel when I think about my future? What messages is it giving me? Did you hear how I asked that? How does my body feel? How does your body feel about today? And how does your body feel about your future? Because your mental and your wellness, it's connected to your body, your physiology. Everything is, man. All this shit's connected. How does your body feel about your future? Write about it. Is it making you tired? Is it dragging you down? And writing these things down sorts it out. Because we're listening to ourselves, right? We want to listen to our bodies, to ourselves, to our thoughts. Hey man, what am I talking about? I can't think like that. What is it today that you want to remember about who you are becoming? Think about that at lunch today. When you eat your little meal, if you get 10 minutes, 30 minutes, go sit somewhere really good too. Yesterday I worked. I was down in, I know it was Labor Day. I had to go do some running around. But what I did is I hung out looking at Roslyn from the Potomac River a little bit. Just staring at it, thinking about, God, how long it took people to build all that, all the river stuff, and people laughing. You know, it was Labor Day. There was people around Georgetown. When you're, to give a tip for a lot of people that don't journal as much and you really want to, set a timer and go somewhere and don't edit yourself. You can say Alexa or Siri or whatever you got on your phone, set me up a timer and then write the prompt down. I'm going to say about a couple of prompts. If one resonates with you today, it might be the one you need to write about today. The prompts for self-discovery and awareness today are: what parts of myself do I hide from others and why? That's one. What reoccurring themes or lessons do I notice in my life story? That's a really good one. That's one that helped me out in my 40s a lot. From like 38 to 45, that was my favorite one of the shit that I kept doing. A lot of it was tied into having too much fun. What I thought was fun, which did nothing actually but drag my life down. When do I feel most like my authentic self? That's a really good one. What are you doing when you feel like your most authentic self? For me, sometimes it's wandering on my own through a shopping area I've never been to. The reason why I laugh is because this is one of those things in my life. I don't want to say I hated, I disliked shopping. Because as a child, I just had to just hang out there. And I could never get anything I wanted. And that's a story I carried through. Oh, I don't want to go to the mall. Why? Bad opportunity. No, I like to go to the mall. There's a story behind that because I thought that there was nothing there for me because that's what I learned as a child going when I was one of 11 kids. Like my mom could really afford to get me much there anyway. But she afforded love. That was free. Gave me a lot of that. How do you define success for yourself beyond any external measure? So when it comes to yourself, how do you find success? Man, it took me 3 times to move that little puzzle over. Right there. Healing and letting go. What are you ready to release from your past today that's no longer serving you? What old habit do you have that's no longer good for you, right? Another one with healing and letting go. What unkind story do you tell yourself? And how can you rewrite it with compassion? What unkind story do you tell yourself and how can you rewrite it with compassion? Growth and mindset. What limiting belief keeps holding you back? And what is the most empowering truth that you can replace it with? What kind of truth do you have there to replace a couple of just different things? Vision and forward movement today. Something good to write about is what's your ideal day look like and feel like? What habits or practices can you lovingly commit to that would support your group? What practices can you support to that's going to help your cause and that's going to help your growth? I'm looking forward to, I apologize for anybody that's in here for last Thursday. I did call in sick. And I didn't get out of bed till way later, but I'm okay. Everything's fine. I hope everybody has a good, blessed day. And think about yourself as one of the best creations that was ever created. Because that's true. And all of us are part of a huge plan. So on days that you don't feel that are the days you need to tell yourself that. And bring yourself into a moment. If you're getting any type of anxiety or depression, bring yourself into a moment to think about yourself, your body, how you feel, and make yourself better through writing. Write down reasons why you shouldn't feel that way. That's gratitude. Write down why you really are feeling that way and what reasons might be. That's self-awareness. And you'll find out that there's something that triggers that in our lives. And a lot of times we have hidden emotions that take over. We don't really understand why we might feel down about something or why something may or may not go right, why we have certain types of anxiety in our lives. When we're aware, we're self-aware, we're in the present moment, sometimes we might identify an old trigger that we subconsciously see and we don't realize it's there. It could be a smell, a person, a car, a place, a thing. When you're journaling and you're taking time for your personal growth and the transformation in your life, you're really examining many parts of your thoughts and your minds that you don't think about on a regular basis. And that's where prompts help out. If there's something or anything that you want to know more about, write it down. And explore it. Explore what you write about it, how you feel about it, what you think when you see a certain word, what you think when somebody brings up a past moment or anything in your life that's different, and be compassionate with yourself to find understanding. There's a story I know, but I don't know how it goes. It was about a little boy who was home one day, and right when he walked into the room, it was his birthday or something. I don't know how the story goes, but I'll probably say it right. His mom said, "Go to your room. I'll let you know when you can come out." That was one conversation, right? And he could have taken it 2 ways. One way was, wow, my mom doesn't even want to see me on my birthday, my special day. And that could affect him and he could carry that. Or he could think out of that same conversation, wow, what my mom's doing for me is so special and such a great surprise that she doesn't want me to get a peek till I get in there. And you see, no matter what, one conversation had 2 perceptions from the kid. Sometimes we're wrong about our perceptions in life. We might be wrong about people, places, or things in our lives. And we've carried that forward to, you know, if you went to the greatest orchard ever and you got 2 apples and one of them was bad, that's because it came from an orchard. That's because Not everything out of that orchard is going to be bad. That's just one experience that you're having. And we can't let that bad apple wreck the whole orchard, right? We can't let a couple of things that bothered us in our life take control of our life. Just getting a grip on our life and our thought and the way that we think, because blessings to you as well, Alicia. Let anything grab into our life, because that's letting external things control our lives. Remember, the machine is internal here, and we can't let external things bother it at all. So the machine, we keep it oiled and lubed and everything in our mind. We keep the gears turning with gratitude, self-compassion, with likeness, and thinking about ourselves as a machine and taking care of ourselves, right? We need maintenance. We need mental health and maintenance. We got to check in on ourselves with thought. We have to be good to ourselves. And when we do that, we become happy. And when we become happy, we maintain it. We start to blossom. We bear fruit. When we're bearing internal fruit, we are giving ourselves more thought of gratitude, giving ourselves more thought of understanding, finding our true authenticity in our lives. To know that these moments, they click on. It's like a clock, and it's already ticking down. And eventually it's going to strike midnight, which is the end of our time. And with the time that we have left, we want to live it in a peaceful, grateful, gratitude way. See as much as we can, read as much as we can, learn as much as we can, create new hobbies, things that we like to do as much as we can to get out of this gift as much as we possibly can. That's bearing fruit in your life, reaching to the highest points with work and effort, of challenging. It's not where we have to go, it's what we've gone through to get here today. And some of the things I've gone through to get here today were challenges in my life, in relationships, as a childhood, growing up, through work and everything. Think of all these challenges that brought us here and how strong we are. It's not the mountains we have to climb, but when we look behind ourselves, we've already climbed the mountains. But we should have gotten some wisdom out of that, just making some easy hills in front of us. So you're not here to just always climb mountains. You're here to recognize that you already have, that you've already overcome. Now let your mind take over. Let your mind take over at ease to live a peaceful, happy life with gratitude in it, to become your authentic self. Don't listen to the sound of yesterday. Don't carry into today the trash that's interrupted your life. Hold on to precious memories and realize that things have happened in your life that you carry forward. They may not have been your fault when they happened, but they're your fucking fault if you're letting them bother you today. Everything's your fault. Everything are all these little triggers that came with us since we were a little kid. I enjoy going to the mall. When I was a child, I never did. When I was 20, I never did. When I was 30, I never did. Never wanted to go shopping with my kid's mom. Nothing. I didn't want to even be in a store. It meant nothing to me. Now I like it. I changed my perspective on things. Change your thought on things. The way that we're looking at things that's wrecking our lives, it's just a reason to be unhappy, because that makes us comfortable, so we can go do whatever we want to when we're not feeling that good, right? So look at it like this. It's your choice today. Give your heart, your soul, and your mind a break. Give it some good food. Give it some good thought. Do some journaling. Take your time to live your authentic, God-given life. And don't be afraid to be honest. Don't be afraid to be honest. And if you didn't hear the prompt that I gave earlier, if tomorrow fear was not a barrier, what would be the first thing you did? If fear had nothing to do with life anymore, what would be and we'll find out the reason why. Hopefully it's not rob a bank. Hopefully it's something good that would benefit you, something you're afraid of doing, Because you might be afraid of what people say. You might be afraid of this and that. Look, if you want to listen to someone that really knows what they're talking about, listen to yourself after you journal for 30 days straight. Feed into your real, true desire. Life's like a dry erase board, right? This big dry erase board. When you live a day, you can actually erase it. But for some reason, we only erase part of them. And we keep track on the dry erase, emotions, feelings, things that happen. Those are erasable. Because remember, it's on a dry erase board. There's a lot of things on our dry erase board that are really kind of filling it. These past experiences, long story, this justification that we give ourselves that, man, this is to be true. This is how I feel. This is how I'm always going to feel. This is in stone. This is part of my life. Living like this, day to day, my struggles, everything that's going on in my life is part of my life. That's what God wants me to do. No, it's not. He wants you to find the power of your mind, to be your own genie in a bottle. Pull the weeds of hate and doubt and disparity about your life and start planting new seeds of hope and glorify yourself as a human. And realize that every day you can restart. You can rewrite your book. You can rewrite your script. It's rewritable. And you can cut new action starting now, starting tomorrow. Set a date, set a goal. Go somewhere you've never been before. That'd be good for your mind. Go on a walk where you've never walked before. Go to hike a good trail. Go be yourself and breathe in some air. Take the time to be compassionate to yourself. Think about something you despise and rewrite it with compassion. Think about your neighborhood, bully, or anything that's happened to your life and rewrite it with compassion. Realize that everybody is somebody's daughter, brother, sister that was born just like you out of love. But we despise them. And why? Why do we let some people trigger us and what they say? I think you're going to find out that it's something within us to blame, not necessarily them. The cold, hard truth is within you, and you'll find out that everything that you ever thought was wrong with everybody, really you were the one with the problem. Journaling is going to open you up to a new hoist of life, new heights and depths. I'm not saying everything's good either when I said that. There are rotten people. But we don't focus on them. We focus that we have the wind that's creating our life is guiding us toward an everlasting sunset ever. Just good places in our life. That's where we want to be. Those are the hopes that we have. Anyway, I'm going into town today, into DC. I hope everyone's having a good day today. Be good to yourself. And blessings to everybody, and blessings to you, Alicia, Brian, anybody who's watching. Thanks for being in here. See you on Thursday. Have yourself a blessed day.